Hello, and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including DuckTales, which we'll be getting into right now. I'm your host, Alex Bonilla, and today I'm joined by Michelle Anderer.
Hello.
And Steve Zec.
Hello.
We are discussing the latest two episodes of DuckTales, Jaws with $, and the Golden Lagoon of White Agony Plains. You can find our coverage on previous DuckTales episodes at overlyanimated.com. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes at overlyanimated.com/iTunes, on YouTube at overlyanimated.com/YouTube, or on your preferred podcatcher, search for Overly Animated. Wherever you listen to us, we appreciate any reviews or ratings you want to leave us. But yeah, we'll be getting into these latest two episodes here. Lots to unpack, I think. So without getting too deep into things, of these two episodes, which one did you prefer and why? Well, let's go to Michelle first.
Oh man, I think both these episodes were pretty standout, and it was great to see Lena again in Jaws, but I do think that the Golden Lagoon takes the cake for me this time around, just because Goldie was such a good character that I was not expecting, but like, oh man, I was so into her. She is super cool. She is she is as cool as Scrooge, maybe even cooler, and that's saying something, because Scrooge is pretty awesome. But yeah, I mean, because of Goldie, the Golden Lagoon of White Agony Plains has to be number one for me.
Okay, nice. Steve, which of the two do you prefer?
Oh, we already started, huh? I disagree. I prefer Jaws.
Why?
Oh, we know why.
I love Lena
Just because
and Magica. Yeah, and Donald in it too. So
for like 5 seconds.
I love that Lena made fun of Donald because I couldn't understand him either, and she was literally like, "What?" I was like, "Oh my god, thank you, show. You acknowledged that he's very hard to understand."
But she's so lucky, man. I would kill to be in the same room with Donald Duck. He's like my boyhood hero, one of my boyhood heroes, man. Donald Duck. I forget, you can have Mickey all you want. Donald is the real greatest Disney character of all time.
All right, so you love Lena in this episode.
Yeah, and listen, take nothing away from Goldie. I loved her too. I'm just saying, Lena and Magica just perform a little better, a little upper tier, and also there's a little more plot there. I'm not sure what they're going to do with Goldie. I'm sure she'll be more relevant to the plot later on, but for now, just a little fun introductory episode. But I love them both, so it's not like it's a bad episode.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement that these are two good to great episodes. And I think I lean towards Michelle's side. Like, I'm fine with Lena Magica stuff. I think that stuff's pretty good. But I think that there are other parts of the episode that kind of fill in the gaps that aren't as interesting. Whereas the Golden Lagoon of White Agony Plains, that's like solely focused on the chemistry between Scrooge and Goldie. And I think that they are perfect together. I love them so much.
It's so good. The whole episode just is so tightly focused on that. You're right, Alex. But like, it's such a joy to watch their dynamic.
Yeah, and also Glomgold in this episode is also once again doing a very good job with comedic relief / competence.
Yeah, for real.
What's he doing though? Dancing with a minor, trying to get Goldie jealous? Like, really, that made no sense.
I think it's very in character for him, though, which is part of what makes it enjoyable.
But I say this about Goldie: the most impressive thing she did in the episode was done off screen. She defeated Mrs. Beakley. That is impressive because all the villains are afraid of her. Even Ma Beagle is scared of her. So.
Yeah, way to go, also she tied up Webby. That's unfair to children, man. That's abuse.
And they're also in a wardrobe, but whatever.
Yeah, but I guess we can start. We'll have stuff to talk about Lena and Magica, but I guess we can talk about Golden Lagoon first. Because we have the introduction here of Goldie O'Gilt, voiced by Allison Janney. She's presented as Scrooge's ex-girlfriend, and I think that their chemistry really works here, and like kind of I've seen it compared to Catwoman and Batman. Like I think it's very similar to that. Like Goldie always wants to steal things and do things the wrong way, and Batman still feels kind of attracted to her anyway. And Scrooge Scrooge and Goldie also have this pull and push relationship. There's also a lot of interesting dialogue in the cave where they talk about how they were frozen together for about 5 years. Do we buy that there was that was romance, being together in a cube?
I don't know.
Well, it seems like he was saying it changed, right? Like it started off their anger heat was keeping them alive, and then it transformed. Which, okay, if you have literally nothing else to look at for 5 years but another person, maybe that could happen. But I mean, yeah, it's kind of questionable.
Yeah. I also got a question. The 5 years thing. I mean, they didn't mention a point. Is how old is Scrooge? I mean, maybe they were there for 100 years. I mean,
yeah,
awesome.
5 years sounds strange since they were alive during the gold rush. So,
well, see, so for them, 5 years is to us like maybe 2 hours or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I think maybe because this is probably the way it was in original comics, which came out like I think back in the 50s or so. So maybe back then. That would have made sense.
Yeah, but also they kind of explain it away with something like Goldie is staying alive because she had some amulet, and Scrooge because he went to a demon dimension that gave him immortality or something like that.
Speaking of which,
so they kind of explain it away, but yeah, I do like that in the car. One of the nephews also makes the joke like, "Wait a minute, how old are you?"
Yeah, he like doesn't say it. He just like looks at him and blinks.
Yeah. And so the basic plot of this episode is that Goldie has returned to find a piece of the map to a treasure of liquid gold that they had left inside a woolly mammoth skull, and so they team up together because she can't steal it from Scrooge, and they go on this quest into the cave, and eventually it turns out that despite her teaming up, she always tries to find ways to backstab him. And they slowly remember why they liked each other in the first place. We do get some interesting back and forth when she's tied up to the bear. There's a point where she's tied up to a bear.
Yes,
yeah.
This does happen.
But, again, another great off-season feat, but this time by Scrooge. How did he defeat the bear and get him on his side?
Well, see,
he can talk bear.
Yeah, apparently he can talk bear.
Yeah,
he named him Nanook.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Which was more impressive, defeating the bear or defeating Mrs. Beakley and Webby?
Defeating Mrs. Beakley for sure.
Yeah.
Bears are quite tameable, as circuses prove, but nobody can tame Mrs. Beakley, so
she's as ferocious as a bear.
Yeah, point to Goldie on that.
But tell that that Donald knows that for sure.
And so like Goldie explains that like she abandoned Scrooge all the time because hey, you're Scrooge McDuck, you can like fix everything.
You liked the challenge. That was her point too, right? Yeah. She was like, "Oh, come on, you loved being in situations you had to think yourself out of." And he's kind of like, "Hey, yeah, it was pretty fun."
Yeah, but eventually he gets frustrated. Like that's not an answer to everything.
Yeah.
And then we also get to the sad point. It's like, you loved Gold more than me. And then like Goldie's like, well, that's why you loved me.
It's like he doesn't deny it.
So like it's an interesting dynamic because we have established that Scrooge is in love with treasure. So I guess it makes sense that he'd be in love with someone who is only focused as treasure as well. And then we get to this ending scene once they reach the Golden Lagoon, and it's revealed that Goldie had been working for Glom Gold. And they have this fighting scene with pickaxes that I was very impressed by. Like
that was in the closing.
So good. The choreography.
That was in the closing throughout the series and the ending credits. So precursor there.
Yeah, it's a callback to the beginning of this episode where they're doing the tango and all inside the gala, and like we play the same tango music, but the lighting behind them makes it a little bit more interesting, and they're backing up over the bridge.
Good.
And the fact that they used something from the end credits as precursor to something that happens in the canon in the series, that's giving me a theory on something, but we'll get to that when we talk about the other episode.
Okay. And so Glomgold, while all this fight sequence is happening,
oh man,
third wheel.
Glomgold has showed up to be the third wheel. I also really enjoyed this sequence where he's explaining how he and Goldie met, and like we go to this comic style flashback thing. He has like muscles and a mullet, like it's the 80s.
He's like really tall.
And in the background, Scrooge is just wearing a sash that says like stinky or something.
In like a diaper, yeah.
Yeah, so Glomgold's very great storytellers. I would like to hear his recountings of the past.
And who is he kidding? The person he's really jealous of, he's jealous. because of Scrooge. He wants Scrooge. That's my ship right there for Glongo.
Yeah, for real.
That's who he's really mad at.
He cares about making Scrooge jealous. He doesn't really care that much about Goldie as like her own person. No. That's so true.
He was just using her to get Scrooge jealous.
He used one of the triplets to dance with to make Scrooge jealous. Like, there's nothing he won't do. He will stoop that low.
Yeah, it's very obsessive, but also I think Glomgold here has his most success against Scrooge because, like, he cuts the elevator rope. That's a good move. Then he like sneaks up behind him and smacks him in the head with a shovel. Like,
that's true.
I guess. I disagree. I think his most success is in the other episode in this batch, but that's just me. But
okay. That's the different way.
He actually wins that time.
Yeah, that's a different interpretation of success. But it turns out that they were going to siphon off the liquid gold, but then Goldie, who had apparently fallen into the lake at the end of that fight, and Scrooge had believed her dead, she just shows up on top of the ship. It's like, hi guys, I'm gonna steal the gold, and
well, they already set up the necklace. We knew they were gonna come back to it. They wouldn't see a plot point like that for no reason.
And did Scrooge get the necklace at the very end? I'm not sure.
No, she still has it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure because
that was a different thing. The necklace has an eye on it, and the thing she left him in the present was just like, it looked kind of like, I don't know, like a Mayan relic or something.
Yeah, I don't think Scrooge would want like a necklace like that, invincibility, because he's so prideful of doing things the hard way.
Exactly, he might win it himself.
He might think it's cheating to have an invincibility necklace, like just like he hates magic. So it's the same thing.
Also, just adding to the chemistry, once we realize that Goldie is alive, Scrooge is just laughing with joy.
So yeah, he's like, oh, she's so great, whatever.
Yeah, he changed his tune, though. I think all he needed to do, once he knew when Goldie kind of saved him earlier, once he knew that she cared about him, then her stealing the gold did not matter anymore. So I think he had a little more perspective. I don't think he was mad at her in the beginning episode for, like, stealing from him and backstabbing him. He's used to that. I just thought he kind of had a broken heart, and once she rectified that, hey, I still care about you in my own way, he's cool with this. So,
well, I guess this leads us to an important question. Is this the beginning of a potentially more healthy relationship?
I mean, maybe. What do you consider healthy?
I don't know. I kind of wonder, though, if perhaps later on when we see Goldie again, maybe she might have like a key to finding Della. Maybe they haven't encountered before. Cool. And that would be the ultimate, like, the redemption for Goldie in terms of help find his lost niece, who I hope is still alive. And I do think one thing step off the line, though. All Goldie did in this episode, she backstabbed and messed with Scrooge. I don't think she didn't make the mistake, though, of messing with his family, doing like backstabbing, like his family, someone like Della. That would be unforgivable. So,
well, she already tied up Webby and Mrs. Beakley, so I don't put it past her this iteration.
I think put someone in danger, but they were fine. They were just tied up. I'm talking about like
it wasn't like malicious or anything. Yeah. She's just like, oh, gotta get them out of the way to get the map.
Yeah, I'm talking about putting a life or death situation, something like danger, like.
Okay, but yeah, compared to other new characters that we've been wondering, like, are they going to make a comeback? I think here they make it plainly obvious that they're going to make her come back with that ending note, right? It's like whenever you needed to find gold, just call me, and the etso at the end.
Leaves it open, which is nice. Like, if we see her in 5 more episodes or like 25, that's fine to me.
I don't know how many.
I'm excited that we have a pretty clear indication that we will see her again. Because she's awesome.
I don't know how many episodes you're gonna get an Oscar winner to appear in, though. That's kind of the problem.
Yeah, Allison Janney's a big get, but yeah, like Michelle says, like if she appears like once every 20 episodes, I'm still good because it keeps it fresh.
I kind of wonder, though, if her obsession with Goldie means we're going to see El Capitan in this series.
Yeah.
He was a villain from the first series who was obsessed with gold. He was super obsessed with gold. That he'd rather die. He'd rather die and be buried in gold than be without his gold. So
I feel like in a world where Scrooge has a money pit, almost every villain must be obsessed with gold.
Yeah, right? Everyone wants that gold.
Well, you gotta see the 5-part pilot of the original series, then you'll know what I mean. Like
5-part pilot?
Sure thing.
Why?
Other assorted pieces here. From the opening scene of this episode, they have arrived at the Glomgold's museum, supposedly to support the arts, but mostly to stock up on cocktail weenies. Now, I would like your guys' opinions. Cocktail weenies, yay or nay?
Yay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yay.
Okay,
Yeah.
Good.
What were you going to say if we said nay, Alex?
I would have called you blasphemers because cocktail weenies are the most important invention to parties in the 20th century.
Oh, well, it is meat, and meat's expensive, so if you can get free meat, you should always go for it.
Exactly, and like they're so tiny, they're like bite sized. It's like chips, you know. Like once you have one, you can't have just one. So like it's like that, but for weenies, like that's a very important innovation.
Do you eat that with your hands or you eat it with a toothpick?
Depends how classy you want to be in the moment. Probably.
Yeah, like I've definitely eaten cocktail weenies with my hands, but I would prefer if I had like a stick or something to pick them up with. But you know, however you can,
however you can,
whatever ends to the means you got. But also during this sequence, it is also mentioned that Scrooge has installed plastic lining on the suit to avoid dry cleaning. That is something I never thought of that existed. Maybe it exists out there, but
I'm not sure. Can you do it in real life?
It sounds like something you could.
It would be so uncomfortable. It's like when people cover their couches in plastic so they don't get dirty. Like, who wants to sit on a plastic couch, though? So it just depends on your priorities. Do you want to live a full life where you get kind of dirty, or do you want to live a plastic-coated life?
You know who lives a full life? Dewey, because like he's like talking about his loosened up tie, like this is how you got to go to parties. It's like, did you party all night last night? So he's giving fashion tips. Also, he is the one who is taken to dance by Glomgold in an effort to make Scrooge jealous, and he just ends up doing his own thing, like a Michael Jackson dance.
And Glomgold gets so mad, he's like, "You have to dance worse than me," and he's like, "No, I can't do that. Sorry."
It's the second Michael Jackson reference we've had in this series.
Yeah, because it was the first episode, right?
The Mummy episode.
Right.
So that was like the 5th one.
Yeah, I think Dewey was involved in that too.
Yeah, so I guess Dewey is just a Michael Jackson fan. He seems to go to that very often. And he even went all the way to the Billie Jean crotch grab in this one. So
That's true.
So good job by him.
Surprised they cross grab in a Disney show, so give him credit. They got to pass censors.
Times have changed, my friend. Times have changed.
Also, he's a duck, so maybe that helps too.
Yeah. Anything else from this episode that stood out to you guys that you want to point out?
I love that the nephews were so like they loved teasing Scrooge about his ex. I felt like it really worked. I thought it was really funny every time they just interject and be like, "Ew, you gonna go kiss after? Is that where you were? How did your day go?" I just thought it was really great somehow. I like that they were able to tease him for once about something.
And they were more like little brothers than nephews in this
Exactly.
case.
They're just like wink, wink.
Yeah, this definitely is them at their most kid. Like, it's a very kid thing to do. Like, hey, you have a girlfriend.
The only thing missing, though, was Launchpad saying that, being taking part. Because he's the ultimate big kid.
That's true. So yeah, Goldie O'Gilt, I think is an A+ character for her appearance here.
Yes, she's awesome.
Now going from a new character to an old classic.
Classic.
Over here we have Jaws, which starred the return of Lena after a long absence, at least to us. So yeah, I guess the big headline here is that we get a bit deeper into the Lena Magica relationship. Lena seems to be very averse to magic or like showing that she is magic to people. And Magica is very insulted by this, and she calls magic the family business. She seems to be very focused on a blood feud with Scrooge McDuck. So there's something personal going on there.
I kind of wonder too. I kind of have a theory there. Magica told Lena at one point, if they knew the truth about you, they would turn on you in an instant. I'm kind of wondering, perhaps Scrooge and Magica, history, maybe they were kind of allies or friends at least. And maybe when Scrooge discovered she could do magic, maybe she even did magic to try to help him and retain and get more wealth. And he turned on her because, he don't want to do things the hard way. And also he has a prejudice against magic, and that's why she turns evil. And later, maybe like a little comparison between generations between Scrooge and Magica's relationship and Webby and Lena's relationship. Like a Roku Sozin to Aang and Zuko type of thing.
I definitely do think that particular scene where she's like, don't reveal yourself because they'll turn on you. Like, you could interpret that as just like her intimidating Lena, but I do think that there is an interpretation of like, okay, there's some personal history here going on. Like, she makes it sound like this has happened before. Michelle, do you get any extra hold on what Magica is, or if she's involved in the past at all, or what's going on with her, do you think?
I feel like Magica and Scrooge definitely have history, especially if Scrooge is super old. I mean, it also explains how he was able to have so much wealth. He had like hundreds, maybe years to do it. But I don't know. I read her telling Lena that if she told Webby about it, that Webby would turn on her more as like an isolation tactic than anything. Because it does seem like the show really wants Lena to, against like her desire to be free, basically, of this. She is gonna like they're gonna find out somehow. And they're gonna be chill, or at least like maybe not right away, but that's how this kind of thing usually goes. So to me, it just seemed a way for Magica to kind of just like isolate her and feel like, you don't have any other options. You might as well just do this because like, oh yeah, maybe you want to have friends, but really they won't trust you, and friendship is awful kind of thing, which I feel like is pretty common from bad guys to say to people who might waver and go to the good side. So yeah,
I kind of knew from the beginning that there was more to meet the eye to this relationship, that Magica kind of had Lena hostage in some way, like
psychologically hostage, maybe.
Yeah, and maybe she's literally hostage here. I thought more so she maybe did something to her parents, but here it's actually Lena herself who's the hostage, because Magica, for my interpretation, she is like linked to Lena by her shadow.
Yeah.
Because like she does make some like, you can't get rid of me. Like Lena tries to walk away.
Yeah.
Which leads me to my theories. Like I told you earlier from the closing credits. In the 87 series, there was an episode that dealt with shadows in Magica, and the way to defeat the shadows was by just taking a whole bunch of pictures. And in the closing credits of the show, we see Webby with the camera, and I'm thinking Webby's going to use that camera to help like Lena escape from Magica's, escape from her link in the season finale.
Now
I don't know. I'm confused. Like, is Lena like blood related to Magica? Was she born with Magica's shadow? Did that happen later?
Well, maybe. If she is, I think her father is Poe, Magica's Raven sidekick in the original 87 series, who was her brother.
Okay.
What? Raven.
Because of magic? Evil magic? Or what?
Yes.
Okay. So it's like a curse.
And she claimed in the original series, when I get Scrooge's magic one time, I'll be able to turn you back into like a human duck.
Duck.
No, well, actually, this is somewhat relevant because, like, in this episode, they do focus a lot on Magica needing the number one dime to exact her revenge somehow. So, I guess the dime, I'm not sure it's going to go exactly the way of the original series. I'm sure they've done lots of things different. But, I do think that we are slowly working towards revealing that. Another thing is we have this whole wish of freedom and dealing it with a hostage. Is this actually a thing she can do, like granting wishes, and like, or is this just a villain tactic of lying to get her to do things?
I don't think we know enough about her power to say one way or the other, because there were those couple instances where Webby's trying to do the friendship magic spell thing, right? And you see Lena like have this magical purple energy, which I'm assuming is like the evil energy, right? And it transforms into blue energy, which is the friendship energy or something.
I hadn't caught that.
Yeah. So I don't know if that energy, the purple stuff, comes from Lena herself or from Magica. But
I don't know.
if Lena has her own power, that's like a whole other thing. Because if she's afraid of magic or doesn't trust it, like maybe there's even more in this rabbit hole we haven't seen yet.
I wouldn't trust her. And I'm thinking more so the purple is not evil energy. That's more conflicted energy between good and evil. And the real evil energy is red energy.
Have we seen any red magic, though, in this
That's just my guess. Though. Normally blue. Normally the opposite of red is blue, and red and blue equals purple.
Well, the gem that she leaves in the money pit, that was red, so I guess you could try pulling some out of that. However, when she's diving into the money shark, like at that point she's pretty like fixed on her desire to destroy the shark, and like there she's purple, so I'm not sure I buy that necessarily being conflicted. But yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff with magic that I guess we're gonna get into throughout this the rest of this series. We also have more Webby here. I don't think we've had a very Webby focused episode in a bit as well. Here, like she's inviting Lena to a sleepover. She's her usual hype self. She seems to be very trusting of Lena, and Selena, as usual, feeling more guilt over this. Webby is so trusting this to the point that she utters the phrase "friendship is magic," which I'm sure made Steve, the resident My Little Pony fan, very happy here.
Second episode they did that.
Yeah, you've probably used that phrase before in this show. But yeah, like how heartbroken is Webby going to be once we make the reveal? Or is she going to be heartbroken, or is she going to be down with this?
I don't know. Well, I do think, though, there's going to be a point when the reveal comes, though, that I think Lena is going to try to act like really evil, so Webby would just forget about her. You know, like pretend to be like completely like just malice and like, yes, I did this on purpose. I don't care about you, just to try to get Webby away, like you would say to a dog you want to leave, like shoot, you suck. So. But I don't think she'll believe it. I think it might be a point that nephews might really think she's, like, bad. And we'll be like, no, I still believe in her. And it'll be like, and the thing it is, though, if this wasn't a Disney show, if this was, let's say, anime, I think Lena would have so many death flags. I think she'd be like, do like a sacrifice herself for her redemption. And I'm like, thankfully, this is a family Disney show, so I don't think that will happen.
I mean, I'd be impressed.
Anything's possible.
I don't want Lena to die. Why do you guys want that?
I don't want her to die. I think there are a lot of ways this could go. Another thing I'm thinking, just like jumping again from the Magica, kind of like making her feel like she can't trust anyone as a tactic. Because maybe if she told Webby, they could figure out a different way to get her unbound to Magica. I think that's also totally possible. And the only way that's going to happen is if she can confide in Webby to do it, and she doesn't feel like she can, because they're not really friends. Okay. So I feel like there are other ways to get the same positive result without Lena dying. It just depends on like how the show wants to handle that.
I wonder if we're going to see a Webby Magica fight, because it looks like she's studying magic at least a little bit. That could be something. Webby versus Magica. Magica kind of kicks her butt, and Lena kind of comes in for the save.
And Michelle's theory as well is set up by that whole Webby having a magic book thing, because
she's learning about it anyway.
Yeah, so like theoretically, if Lena ever got enough trust in Webby, like that team up is possible now that we know that Webby has an interest in this stuff, even though she's doing it undercover, since Scrooge apparently hates magic. And so while we have those characters, these interactions were we're tied together by the magic of having a money monster, a money shark, if you will, due to the nephews diving into the money pit. And so, like, most of this episode is kind of the action sequences of them fighting the shark.
Hey. Her name is Tiffany. She has a name now.
The shark.
Okay.
She has a name.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, Tiffany, for not referring to you by your name. But Tiffany, you're a boring villain.
She gets arms and legs, though. Let's gotta count for something. How many sharks can do that?
I'm sure, like, Jaws 4 ended up doing this. Or one of the Sharknado films. Did we ever get to that stage in the shark evolution of them getting limbs?
I don't think so.
But, yeah, like, I think that this episode, like, the Lena Magica stuff, I really enjoyed. I think Lena and Webby are pretty good together. The nephews let off a couple of good jokes, but I think that this whole ship dynamic of them hunting the whale and all, like, them fighting in various ways, like, that stuff really kind of dragged.
Because, like, the ship couldn't even move. It was stranded in the coins. So it wasn't really like they were riding the waves or could follow the shark at all.
Oh, speaking of ship, you've got my favorite line in the episode, maybe, when Webby told Lena, "You beautiful idiot!"
Yeah, that was good. Right.
Totally
Shippers
gay.
can rejoice for that, yeah.
I don't know which one's more. I like more Webby and Lena or Scrooge and Glomgold.
Webby and Lena, they are Glomgold's lame. At least Webby and Lena are both cool.
Yeah.
And Webby Lena has been, I think, a stronger ship from the beginning.
Yeah. Besides, I think that's a two-sided relationship. I think that's more one-sided. Glomgold towards Scrooge.
Right. And then, like, the B plot is Scrooge having to give an interview to the television network because his invention keeps destroying the town, and she gets stuck with a very evil reporter lady named Roxanne.
Speaking of reporter, that is Shannon from OKKO. Another one of Box materials in this show.
Oh my God!
Yes, voiced by Carrie Waldron. Yeah.
Good for them.
She's as evil as Shannon.
Yeah, like she does a very good job of schmoozing up to Scrooge. Like, it'll be conversational, it's fine. Then, like, opens up with "Welcome to the program, you menace." So, the very gotcha journalism. Also, Beakley tries to prepare Scrooge, like, even going down to what part of Ireland are you from? And, like, it comes back during this scene as well.
Can I compliment her voice actress? She does a great job with those voices and trying to impersonate the reporter before he shows up. I thought literally it was the reporter herself who just came in. I didn't know it was Beakley saying those lines.
Yeah,
right.
that was a little strange. Like, she was able to drop the accent very easily. good for her.
I guess if she's a spy, maybe.
Right, she's a spy. She knows. She knows how to do it.
And so eventually they reveal, like, well, first Scrooge is trying to defend himself, like, no, my invention doesn't cause damage. But then, hey, news came in, a money shark just came out from Scrooge's plate.
Shark grew limbs.
I love though when Launchpad says the orphanage is fine though. We just missed the orphanage.
Yeah, that's good news. Launchpad is actually this is like one of the few
Launchpad's good.
Yeah, he's fine. I think that he's underutilized in this episode because I don't really remember much of his appearances. I know he's leading the ship, and, like, also he's the one who ends up driving the ship into the shark's mouth.
He's also obsessed with, I guess this is a carrying thread now, that he thinks he and Blue Shirt are, like, best buds, ride or die forever. Because he was like, have to save Blue Shirt, and also maybe the other ones when they get eaten. But Blue Shirt, though... Which I thought was, like, very true to Launchpad and also kind of endearing. That he's just, like, he believes this. Doesn't matter if Blue Shirt, confirms it or not, but he's going to be the best friend he can.
Aww.
Yeah, that's a good character moment. It's because that is something that we've established already, so that's nice to see it carry over. Also, at the end, everyone is picking up the coins dropping from the shark, including all the poor people of Duckburg. Which they're
under the bridge boats following the shark.
Yeah.
Like, see, you never really think about the poor people in this series. So good that they get something to.
Yeah, and also the Beagle Boys and a couple of Glongo's former henchmen from the first episode.
Well, look, they might be poor too. Like, they got fired from their job. What if they haven't found anything?
And who knows how much the Bigos allowance is for Ma Bigos. You sound like someone who doesn't give them much allowance.
Right. Plus there's a list of them, so you can't, you have to spread that out.
So once again, except for Magica, all the bad guys win in this episode. Glomgold and the Bigo Boys, they actually win.
I guess so, yeah. And Glomgold, once again, he does well in this episode. He's the one interviewed in the television appearance, but even though he admits he's still rich, so whatever.
Yeah.
And then later he shows up in disguise to pick up money and thank Scrooge on live television. Like, thank you, Scrooge.
Do you know that this guy is supposed to be Steven Spielberg, which is a reference to of Jaws?
I did not catch that.
I didn't catch that at all.
So that's what people are saying.
There's barely any Jaws references in this.
I appreciate that. I'm glad that they restrained themselves from lots of heavy Jaws references, because Jaws references have been happening for 30 years. I don't need any more, honestly. I think that well is run dry.
Wow, hot take on Jaws references.
It's an old movie. They've had so much time to make jokes.
And so, a question I have though: is Lena the only one that wears shoes in this series? That's a question they got to answer one of these days.
Scrooge wears his spats, right?
Those aren't shoes.
Okay, well, Goldie wears normal shoes. She wore those hiker boot things.
I guess so. I didn't notice them. I guess because the rest of Goldie's outfit maybe overshadowed her.
Also, we will point out that Goldie wears boots because they're going into a cave that has lots of rocks and pointy things,
Yeah.
But outside, I guess the ducks with their webbed feet don't really require footwear. But maybe Lena just wears it to look cool,
Yeah.
Look more like a teenager. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, and how about the epic fight? The epic Webby and Lena versus Huey, Dewey, and Louie in the pillow fight, the Enzo Till of pillow fights. Which was a massacre.
It was 2 seconds.
I love
epic is quite the overstatement for something that lasted 10 seconds.
Well, I love when Louie says, "What? Whose idea was it to pick a fight with Webby?"
Who thought this would go well for us? That's very true.
I mean, they had the numbers advantage. It was 3 versus 2.
Steve.
One of them's older than them, so that kind of cancels it out. When kids age.
Yeah. So, So I think that's basically the. And I guess just Donald is the last remaining thread in this episode. We opened up with him talking to Lena, and then at the very end, he gets his ship back all destroyed. That's our cutaway scene.
Oh, poor Donald.
Uses more than anyone all the time.
We need more Donald.
We do, but we need more subtitles.
They had subtitles for the bear, for Scrooge talking to bear talk.
Yeah, for the bear. They equal opportunity. Give it to Donald too, for everyone's sanity.
Well, yeah.
But if we got subtitles, then Lena wouldn't be able to make the awesome joke of what?
That's true. That was so perfect.
Great timing.
It'd be great though if that whole adventure they came back from is from another episode we see in the future, but I doubt that.
I mean, episodes they're out of order. I wouldn't. That's slightly a possibility, actually. But yeah. So just to wrap up here, who is your favorite character out of all these 2 episodes here? We'll go to you, Steve, first to defend your favorites.
Well, like I said, I love Goldie too. It's fun, but Lena, come on, I just love her. She's the most interesting character for me so far because they have this big little arc here. I can't wait to see where they go for it. And please, Lena, don't die. Don't die.
She's not gonna die.
I mean, she might, maybe.
You think, Alex? You really think she
might not die? She might not die, but I've seen this done so many times. She might get reborn into a baby.
And look, DuckTales. Wait, no, I'm not on board with that. But DuckTales, I think, has been a little darker than I expected. So, I give it a 5% chance that happens.
All right, 5% doesn't seem unreasonable to me, actually. All right.
Yeah, Disney is at the point where they would allow a character to die. But Michelle, of these two episodes, who is your favorite character and why?
Def Goldie, just because I feel like her voice actor did a really good job making her sound like, suave, mature, and clever, and just like their rapport, her and David Tennant, was just so good. Like the whole time, it was just very refreshing to see somebody so confident and in their element in a way that Scrooge is, and pretty much no one else is in the show. And it was just, I don't know, like I don't need to see her again for a while. Like, I feel like I had, like, my quota satisfied. A quota I didn't know I needed until she was a character suddenly. But, I mean, she's very memorable. And I think she's had one of the more stronger entrances for a character. Like, that's how I felt the first time I saw Lena. I was like, whoa, like, who is this? And I love her, and I'm obsessed with her now. Like, that's how I feel about Goldie for different reasons. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of, like, all I want from a character sometimes, and I think she delivers.
Make you want more?
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Oh,
but
I want more, too.
Content. I don't feel like anything was lacking that I'm, like, hungry for, so I'd be fine to not see her for a while.
I just hope that I'm asking for too much, but I kind of want her to play a role in the whole Della plot, but maybe I'm asking too much.
Yeah.
I think it's possible. I don't think you're asking too much.
Yeah, Della, I think, feels a little far down the road, but that gives us enough time to be away from Goldie if they decide to include her down the road.
And I think Goldie, though, if like once you're maybe in the future may interact with Webby and maybe to get over whatever happened off screen, I think she could be, I won't say a good mentor, like a good role model, but at least some sort of a mentor in some way. Maybe not the greatest mentor, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, she's very clever. She knows how to get out of a scrape, so...
Yeah. She's like the more chaotic version of Scrooge, I guess.
Yeah.
And actually, I really want to praise Scrooge in these two episodes because, like, in the first episode in Jaws, he, like, plays up the comedy stuff, and he's really good at that. And then in the second episode, they play up, like, his ability to both be frustrated and then also get really emotional. So, like, he, in these two episodes, I think the reason I like them a lot is because they feature a lot of Scrooge and kind of show off all the different sides of Scrooge that we've slowly been building up over the show. So I really like Scrooge, and so I appreciate that these two episodes gave me a lot of him.
Mm-hmm.
But
is he your MVP for this batch, Alex?
I think he is. I really enjoyed him in both episodes. So
well, he's in both of them. So
it's an unfair advantage.
But I just say this: Gold. If you didn't have a Lean episode before it, Goldie would have been my MVP as well. It's just. 2 episodes with her together. I'm just so excited to see Lena again that, it's just the timing, that's all.
I think that's fair. And I will say, like, from the episode with Lena, one thing I appreciated about how they're spinning her character is she doesn't want to just, like, be evil because it's a family thing. She could care less about magic. She could care less about being a villain. She just, like, doesn't want to be tied to magic anymore. She's kind of just in it for herself. And I feel like that's a pretty good reason. Mm-hmm. That's a good reason for me. Because, like, if she was just evil, there's a lot less to care about. But I feel like there's a lot of potential Webby could sway her over to confiding in her. Yeah. Because she doesn't want to be evil. She just really wants her freedom. That's kind of it.
In a way, I see a lot of similarities between Lena and Goldie in terms of good and evil. They're, like, kind of right, sort of that morally gray area. Right in the middle. Goldie more morally great, but still, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll definitely stay tuned to see more, maybe more new characters, or just wait for the next Lena episode.
Oh, there's a new character in the next episode coming, probably.
Well,
Doofus is probably going to show up at last.
All I know is that the next 2 episodes are called Day of the Only Child and From the Confidential Case Files of Agent 22. That's all I know, so I don't want to delve beyond that. But.
I'm saying Agent 22 is Mrs. Beakley. I'm calling it right now. No spoilers.
Oh, okay, you're just guessing.
Okay, good. I would hope so, though. I'd love to see her be really awesome and, like, go back to her roots as a spy.
Yeah,
that'd be so cool.
Weekly flashback episode? I'm down.
Oh my god, when she was in her prime? That'd be so cool.
Wait, who's to say she's not still in her prime?
That's true. She could be in her prime.
But yeah, until we get to those next 2 episodes, you can find out all the info on this podcast at overlyanimated.com. You can always join us on Discord if you want to chat with us about DuckTales or any other animated show we cover here at overlyanimated.com/Discord. You can support us via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to all of our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Brendan, aka Kells. And thanks as always to our Patreon executive producers, John, Ryan, Steve, Andy, and Hugh. So yeah, we have DuckTales coming up very soon. We got OKKO coming up very soon. Mm-hmm. We recently did a Miraculous Ladybug panel. Soon we're gonna have Steven Universe.
Yes.
So yeah, lot. Overly Animated is going to be very busy this July 4th weekend, I'm sure. So stay tuned for us there. But yeah, man, until the next time we talk DuckTales, we'll see you soon. Adios.
Bye.
Bye.